Rivian, I'm not telling you this because I don't like you. I'm telling you this because I love you and I want you to do well. I'm really genuinely rooting for you, Rivian, but Golly from Hyperchange recently reported on some of the self-driving hardware Rivian is going to be delivering with the R1T, which, don't get me wrong, I'm really happy there's another tech startup out there that's focusing on self-driving tech, and that is going to be a big part of our future, especially the electric future, and making sure these cars are capable of autonomous driving, especially when we're likely not going to get the first delivery for the R1T until next year. You're going to be drastically behind the competition, which is Tesla. Yes, they're leading the autonomous driving revolution right now. So the development of that stuff is really, really crucial right now. But Golly basically told us that the suite of hardware in the R1T is going to be quite overkill. In fact, almost to a detriment, in my opinion, because I think it's going to end up costing them way more. And the price of your initial vehicle, I think, is more important right now than just making sure you have the absolute maximum amount of self-driving sensors. So basically, they have two front-facing LiDAR sensors, which are quite pricey and notably and intentionally left out on Teslas, as Elon Musk talked about, which, in my opinion, Tesla has a lot more experience with autonomous driving hardware and making software that works with it. So I feel like when Elon's claiming eventually everyone's going to ditch LiDAR and we have prototypes that are capable of full self-driving now and they don't need LiDAR, and then you have Rivian saying, yo, yeah, we're going to put two on the front of their vehicle, I don't know, it makes me worried a little bit. Simultaneously, they're going to have 4 radar sensors, which I believe Teslas just have kind of one front-facing one, along with a suite of ultrasonic sensors, and while Teslas have 8 cameras, the Rivian is going to have 10. So that's cool, I guess, that's fine. It's just, the cameras I don't think are the expensive part. I think the biggest concern I have are the 4 radar sensors and, of course, the 2 LiDARs, which are a technology notoriously known for being pricey. Maybe they found a way to get the price down, but given they haven't delivered a single vehicle yet and we still can't get an actual starting price from them yet, I feel like if your main competition is going to be the Cybertruck later, which is already drastically undercutting this vehicle, Rivian should be focusing on making this hardware as cheap as possible. Now, just out the gate, when Rivians first hit the road, they're going to have level 2 autonomy, so nothing really that fancy, just kind of adaptive cruise control and stay within the lanes. Nothing really too out of the ordinary, and Rivian has said that in their first year of delivering vehicles, they're not really going to do anything with self-driving software. They're just going to collect data from these vehicles, kind of resembling Tesla's model of autonomous driving and making sure that they collect data and then use that data to make full self-driving better. So I'm glad you're doing that. It's just, you're going to be drastically far behind because I'm sure deliveries and quantities of the R1T are going to be very, very low in their first year. And it's not going to help if you're packing 2 LiDAR sensors on each one, which is already driving up the price of the vehicle, which we already know is going to be much higher than that of the Cybertruck. So also knowing how large the battery capacity is going to be on the R1T, I'm nervous for you, okay? Because you really need to get this starting price down, and I don't think that LiDAR is an important thing to be rocking on the vehicles right now. Maybe internally you can do some testing for yourselves, but if Tesla is getting as far as they can with full self-driving right now, and it's very possible that we may have an early form of full self-driving by the end of this year, that should be evident that this LiDAR thing is probably not worth investing in, and you probably don't need this insane amount of sensors surrounding the car if the Model 3 is able to do it with far less sensors, because the amount the vehicle costs is a huge factor, not to mention power efficiency, affects range super heavily. So if you're going to put 2 LiDAR sensors and 4 radar sensors on this car, that's going to be consuming a lot more power than a traditional Tesla. And the other important thing we don't know about the R1T yet that I hope they go into later is what processor, what internal computer is actually going to be running all these things, because Tesla actually has a lot of legacy automakers scared with how advanced their full self-driving computer chip is, that they're now retrofitting with lots of different other Teslas out there, giving them the latest computer available that is specifically designed from the ground up to be able to process and render all of the imagery and all of the data that a Model 3 is analyzing when driving on the road, so that it can detect, stop signs, stop lights, and using AI to improve full self-driving with time is all going to be capable thanks to that computer chip. And if you're throwing 4 radars and 10 cameras and 2 LiDAR plus the ultrasonic sensors on this Rivian, it's gonna need a really, really powerful CPU and really, really great computer that I don't know if they're designing in-house or maybe they're buying from other companies, but it has to be really, really fast to be able to render and process all of that data, which again is going to make the internal computer cost more, as well as use a lot more power than the traditional full self-driving chip likely that Tesla is using. So this idea of kind of overkilling the Rivian hardware with as many sensors as they need, I feel like they're just going too far. That's going to drive up the price. It's not going to help with power efficiency. And given, I think, Tesla, we should look at right now as the masters of kind of full self-driving tech, as they seem to be closer than anybody else on the market right now. You know, there's companies like Google Waymo, which I haven't talked about in the past, but they're heavily monitored, and they have to be pre-coding stuff before they actually drive vehicles around, and it's heavily limited by geofences, so they have far less miles driven compared to what Tesla has. And in this game, the more data you have, the better off you're going to be, and Tesla has basically secured their position as the leader at this point, because by the time Rivian has a year of full self-driving data with their probably fairly low quantities of the R1T, Tesla's going to be far into the billions. They're already into the billions of miles of data collected right now, and it's very possible we could be nearing level 4 autonomous driving by the time Rivian is nearing their 1 year of data collected. So it's going to be really hard for other companies to compete with what Tesla has achieved, and my hope is that Rivian can realize that putting sensors that are that expensive, like LiDAR, or the insane suite of sensors around the vehicle that probably drives up the price and doesn't help with power efficiency, my hope is they can realize what's more important, which is to get more vehicles on the road, bring that price down, especially when your target demographic is, I know, pickup truck drivers, which probably don't care that much about full self-driving, but still, it's going to be an important part of the future. Let me know what you guys think of full self-driving hardware, whether or not you think Rivian's going too overboard, or maybe you think they need to go further with the hardware because the Model 3 is just not going to cut it with their hardware. All that good stuff. Let me know what you're thinking down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have an excellent day. Take care.